Hello fellow heroes, this is Sean and welcome to Hero of the Table. Today I'm going to be showing off some models that I got from DRS Models. I purchased these through Cults 3D, printed them on my 3D printer. I have a Prusa filament printer and that's what I printed them on. Just thought I'd take a look at them, tell you what I thought, and if it's something that looks like it might be interesting for you, you can check them out. I'll put links in the description below. So this pack here is the Cetian tank pack. It comes with 6 different variety of tanks. This is the main battle tank. The basic hull is going to be the same for most of these, but they come with different turrets. So this one is kind of a little rocket launcher. The way they're designed, these actually are upright and attached, but I thought this looked kind of cool, so that's how I did it. And then they've kind of got like another one that's a little bit different design, but again, little rocket pods. So the turrets are interchangeable if you want on these. The design of the turrets, they have a longer peg, but I trimmed that down in my slicer. I didn't really see the need for it. They fit on here just fine. Some of them could be a little bit wonky if they're not very well balanced. So some of them with the longer barrels or whatever, and not stay in there real well. So you might want to print them with the longer peg. But I think for what I'm going to use them for, they're fine with the shorter peg. For printing these with supports, all I did was supports on the bed. I didn't have any supports anywhere else, and they came cleaned up real nice, painted up pretty well, no major issues. There's a couple spots where there's some filament that isn't tight here on the bottom edges of some of these things, but overall they're pretty nicely detailed prints. No issues with printing them. This is the APC. It's a little bit bigger than the body of the main battle tank hull, but I think it looks nice. Here you can see it with a couple of these are Earth Force Marines from Rebel Minis, so it is kind of a big tank, but I like the look of it. I think it looks nice. There's a couple of different weapons that you can print. This is just a little minigun that I printed for it. I painted these up, real simple paint job. I sprayed them with a brown. You can kind of see that. It's just like a Krylon I got at Walmart. Painted on patches of a darker brown, a little bit of a wood brown, and little trims of black just to give some color variation there, and then wash the whole thing with a brown wash. I really like how they turned out. You can see the lines from the print, but they're not that bad. If it gets up real close, obviously you can see them. I printed these at a 15 millimeter or 0.15 millimeter thickness, so the print lines are pretty thin. I could go thinner, of course. It just adds a little bit of time to the print. I think these printed in about 4 or 5 hours each with that thickness of the print. I did a 5% infill, which isn't a ton, but I'm not going to do anything heavy duty with these, so they're pretty sturdy. The print comes, the main body is one piece, each track is a piece, so the whole side is a piece, and then the turret, depending on which turret you've got, there's a couple of different pieces. So this one, each pod is separate, and the main body of the turret is its own. The main battle tank turret, same thing. The main body is one piece, this is one piece. A little bit of super glue and they go together, no problem at all. You just got to make sure you line them up. There isn't any pegs or grooves in the sides to line them up, so when you put some glue on there, you got to make sure you line them up well so that they get attached in the right place. Overall, I really like these. One thing you could do if you know you're going to have different scenarios using these, got a couple of extra tanks printed here, and I know I'm going to want some multiple tanks, but sometimes I'll want to do different scenarios, so I've got the extra turrets printed out so that I can swap them in and out. And of course these aren't painted, but they will be. So sometimes I'm going to want some main battle tanks, sometimes I'm going to want these support vehicles, so that's kind of an easy way. You don't got to reprint the whole tank if you don't want to. Of course, if you can, storage space isn't an issue. You can print as many as you want because you're buying the STL files. Not a big deal. So like I said, there's 6 different turret options. There's 2 bodies, and this body is not going to take any of the other turrets, just the the weapons that are designed for it. But it does give you a nice little variety for some tanks for a 15mm force. I actually painted one up and scaled it up 200%, so I see what these would look like for a 28mm game. So this is the same main battle tank scaled up to 200%. Obviously it's a much bigger tank, but it still looks pretty nice, I think. You can see here the filament on those ledges, because they're bigger, they stick out more on the 200%. They're a little bit more pronounced. You get that little bit of filament that's not got anything to attach. So again, I only did supports when they were attached to the base. I didn't want to have to clean off the model itself, so I got a little bit of those. If you change how your support are set, you're not going to have some of those issues. I think the model's pretty nice. I like the way it looks. You can see here this is an old Space Marine, so it's one of the smaller ones now because they've gotten much bigger. But for your 28mm gaming, I think it scales pretty decently. Maybe I wouldn't go up 200%, maybe like 175 or something, and that would give a nice size. But I think it looks nice. Depending on what kind of gaming you're doing, these models will work well for 28mm gaming as well, for your sci-fi needs. So these are the Cetian tanks. I don't know if I'm saying that right. It's Cetian, and I think they look pretty good. So another option that I bought here, I've got some, these are GMF tanks. I don't know what that stands for. Is it Global Marine Forces or whatever? Either way, these are wheeled vehicles. I think they look pretty cool though. Again, just a real simple paint job. I used a green paint for that I got from Walmart. Sprayed them that just flat color. Took a little bit of dry brush and gave them kind of a tiger stripe with black camo. Painted up the wheels and called it done. Nothing too complex here, but they look pretty nice. Got two of the main battle tanks again for these guys, and then one. This is a smaller vehicle, but it's got kind of an anti-air turret here. Same thing, if you want to swap these out, you can. So there's 6 different turrets and 2 hull designs, so you can come up with different ideas that you want with those. They also have, here's an anti-tank rocket that I did, just so swapping those out. Real simple paint job, but again, I think they look pretty nice. These were printed, some of these were at 0.2mm and some were at 0.15. Honestly, you really can't tell the difference with they're painted here. They look pretty much the same. Here's a 15mm Gatungi model from Micro Panzer Games, so you can kind of see the scale of these. It's a nice size. You got a larger vehicle if you want, or some smaller vehicles here. I think these are pretty nice designs as well. They're going to become the armored vehicles for my Gatungi force. I think they fit them well and nicely. They'll be a good look on the table. I didn't print any of these at a larger scale, but you know, with this one you can kind of see it's gonna look fine. They'll be bigger, but pretty much the same thing. Overall, I'm really impressed with these models. I think they're designed nicely. They print well on my printer without much work. Like I said, do the supports when I print them, but I only do it so that they're on the bed. I don't have to do any other supports. And I use the Prusa slicers, so they slice. Those supports are all added automatically without any issues. One thing that I found that is a little bit of a problem, so this model I printed with full support, and in here this little gap between the turret body and this little whatever on the side, that's a pretty small gap, so those supports in there were actually really kind of a pain to get out. Not a huge problem, but it's something to think about when you're printing yours. Make sure you're adjusting your settings appropriately. For the price of these, I think the files were about $7 US through the Cults 3D website. I think it's a pretty good price for the designs you get. They print nice. You can print as many as you want, of course. They also sell them from a website if you don't have a 3D printer, so you can order those. They're in the UK, so you've got to pay for the shipping and stuff wherever you are. But I think he charges £7 for a printed model. I could be wrong about that. You can check them out and check out their website. I'll put that link in the description if you want to see that. He does have, gosh, I want to say like 18 or 20 different vehicle design packages, so that's pretty cool. There's lots of different ideas out there. Some of them are kind of hover vehicles. I've bought a couple more packs. I just haven't printed any of them yet. I've got the Icarus, which is kind of, they got some sponsons on the tanks. They kind of look like a Land Raider maybe a little bit. And then they also has a Croft tank. I bought those as well, and they kind of have an elvish feel for a sci-fi setting. So I'll be printing those up for use in future games. Again, you can get those through the Cults 3D website, or you can buy the prints from him directly through the DRS Models website. And again, links to those are in the description. Well, I hope you found this video useful. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like this and the other projects that I work on, you can subscribe to my channel. Please click the bell so you get notifications when I post new videos. If you want to see the games that I'm playing, the projects that I'm working on that may not make it to video, you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and there's links to all those in the description below. If you have any questions or comments, put it in the comments section. And remember, you don't need to be an expert to paint your models. Even a basic paint job makes for better games. Thanks for watching.